Look, I've always loved this weapon. Always. And I know a lot of Destiny 2 vets love it too. Like, remember Mesa Sean? This was one of his favorite weapons back in the day. He used it everywhere, and I get it. We now have Tigerspite 2.0. We have refreshed perks and origin trades, so today I want to talk about what to look for. And vault space is tight, but there are a couple rules worth keeping. One is definitely, no question, how to obtain it. You get a good amount of them just from flat out doing the coil, those activity side chests. I got one run where I had 4 to 5 of them drop. And in that activity, they could be stage progression rewards at the end. If you make it to the big chest room, they can be in there too. I happen to like the origin trait from these weapons: advanced reflexes upon taking damage from a target, quickly guard or ADS to gain bonus mobility, handling, and charge rate. The handling and mobility are great. And the perks are really nice, and they separated them nice too. Like column 3, we have 2 main PvE perks, 2 main PvP perks, 1 neutral perk, and then a bad perk. So column 3, Outlaw, there's your neutral perk. Subsistence and Overflow, PvE, Invisible Hand, there's your bad perk, and then Fragile Focus, Moving Target, those are PvP centered. In the 4th column, same thing. Kill Clip, PvP, Frenzy, Neutral, Demo, PvE, Kinetic Tremors, PvE, Eye of the Storm, PvP, and then we have Attrition Orbs, and okay. There is a place for this thing, just not on this. I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad perk. So there's some things that I want to cover today about this thing, but first thing, I want to talk about the main role to go for. Let's get that out of the way. It's Overflow Kinetic Tremors. And I feel Kinetic Tremors is one of the best PvE perks in the game. On your kinetic weapon, sustained wide damage, Overflow gets this thing to 66 rounds, backup mag goes to 78, a pitted mag on top is 86. There's a lot to like here. I love my Kinetic Tremor weapons. There's only 2 ARs that have it. They both came out this season. The other one's Breakneck. But with Breakneck, it's going to have its own video. It has a massive perk pool. It doesn't have Overflow, but it has something a little bit better. That's Shoot to Loot Kinetic Tremors. I've talked about this in the past. Top shelf, only 3 weapons have that combination: Hung Jury, Battle Scar, Breakneck, but that's going to be for another day. Overflow with that is great. I have it on a Buzzard, but this is going to have a lot more utility than Buzzard. This season, we have Overload AR and Overflow Kinetic Tremors on a champion, whether it be Barrier, whatever. It puts in a lot of work. There's a lot of stun, and there's a lot of times where you're hitting other enemies, the champions around, and the Tremors will actually stun them. I believe that is the #1 role to go for. Only 2 ARs have Kinetic Tremors, and this is a whole lot easier to get than Breakneck, arguably, so be looking for it. And otherwise, PvE, I used a Subsistence demo role on this coil run that we've been seeing, and it did fine. It did great. It was okay. I'm running a Sunbracers build, getting back that Solar Grenade when I didn't have it. If I wanted to start a Dragon's Breath Scorch Chain, things like that. There's nothing wrong with it, but we have tight vault space. If a role suits you, you need something like that, go for it. Subsistence demo, like what was shown. Subsistence Frenzy. Great combinations. Easy to control. ARs have gotten a little bit better as we move on in PvE, but in the end, it's Overflow Kinetic Tremors. And honestly, you can get away with just another random 3rd column perk to Paratremor, Subsistence, Outlaw, whatever. It's going to be fine. So look for it. Now for the Crucible. Guys, I have been frying with Tigerspite. Just unloading, going against a lot of thorns, and just straight up gunning them. I always talk about feel. Feel's huge on a weapon. It's one of the most important things. And when you look at the base stats, everything's fine, all great, all midline, nothing's super low, nothing's really high. It fits the archetype. But the main draw to me is the Floating Diamond Reticle. One of my all-time favorites in Destiny's history. It's on another one of my all-time favorite weapons, Zen Moment Kill Clip, the Horror's Least. I love the Floating Diamond. It feels like I get superpowers when I use it. It feels sticky, easy to work with, easy to aim with. I love it. But when it comes to the Crucible, there are some issues that come up. I think 450s are in a great spot. Keep in mind, the real chase on this thing is Overflow Kinetic Tremors. However, as you're getting rolls, some really good PvP rolls can come up. I already got 2 of them. Fragile Focus Kill Clip. It's Poly, Ricochet, Stability, Masterwork. With the Fragile Focus range, it gets to 87 range. More on that in a second. The second roll, Moving Target Kill Clip. Great combination. I put full bore on it. It's got high cals, 82 range. It does awesome. You've been seeing the gameplay. It does great. But we have new weapons coming in always, and that could mean reprised as well, refreshed. You need to take into account what you have if you're going to use it. And I want to compare this full bore Moving Target Kill Clip roll to Braytech, one of the ones that I have. It's Hammer Forged, Ricochet, Range Masterwork, so 94 range, easily 100 with well-rounded. These auto rifles, the range band, they really, and I mean really ramp up at the tail end of the range stat. And I kind of wish that they didn't do that, but they do. What I mean by that, you would see 82 range and think, oh, that's pretty good. It's pretty high. I can make that work. So 82 range on this thing is 33.6 meters of fall off, and auto rifles have really good fall off. They hold their damage for like 1.5 meters before they start going down. My Fragile Focus one 87 range is 34.6. So 5 additional range stat points goes up a full meter. And then when you go to the 94 range Braytech, it's at 36 meters. Well-rounded added 100 range, 37.2, which is the cap for auto rifles in that mid-range. So there's a total of 3.6 meters tied up into 18 range stat points. That's wild. From 82 to 100, 3.6 meters. So you might have a target lock horror story, maybe another 450 that you like. Tigerspite can and will compete, you've seen it, but you do want to get the range up to fully compete with it. And straight up, I'm telling you right now, for me personally, while I'm looking for that overflow trimmer roll, if I land small bore, ricochet, fragile focus, range masterwork, kill clip, 1000%, it's my main 450. Over that Braytech. I might even get rid of the Braytech, but it has to land. And for that PvP role, what I'm looking for is what I said, like the most bang for your buck, the most efficient stat distribution, small bore ricochet, range masterwork, that's 84 range. Fragile focus gets it to 100. So with 84 range, that's 34 meters. Fragile focus, it goes to 37.2, and that's the cap. It's a good spot to be in. This thing is awesome. I love it. A big part of it is feel. That diamond for me is just it. It feels so good to use. Otherwise, we have the dueling route, maybe moving target, Eye of the Storm. All of those can work, and if you get what you think is a good roll, synergistic, or it could just be like high stats, maybe full bore 100 range, fragile focus, kill clip, try it. You might like it, and then replace something in your vault. And that's what will be happening for me if I land that max range fragile focus kill clip roll. There's also things like the onslaught 450s, meaning breakneck. There's a lot of competition. But in the end, though, this thing checks all the boxes for me. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen for you. I think it's great. I've been having some really good games with it. Super stable, easy to control, lethal, especially with kill clip. And with that said, again, the main thing, overflow kinetic tremors. So as you're doing the coil, as the weeks go on, be looking for a kinetic tremors roll on this AR. Because I think if you get it and use it, you're going to see the power of kinetic tremors, especially when it gets into champions and other things and just little AoE ad clear. It's awesome. And for me, usually it's really tough not running something like kinetic tremors in that primary slot in PvE if I use a primary weapon not exotic. I usually go strand with strand, things like that. And while yes, demo and all that is serviceable, there's a lot of things that can do that and probably a little bit better. But not too many things, especially an auto rifle, can have that tremor damage. So all in all, they did a really good job when they brought it back. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about Tigerspite down below, an old school weapon. Are there any rolls that you're enjoying? If so, tell us about it. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.